What's up, my Metaverse family? So this past week, I fell down a rabbit hole, and that rabbit hole was the Phantasma smart chain, which is a next-gen smart chain that was built with gaming in mind. And because of that, it has a ton of functionality that actually Ethereum, Solana, a lot of these other smart chains don't have, like smart NFTs, which are super useful for gaming. So yeah, I heard about this smart chain from one of my good YouTube friends called Crypto Stash. You should definitely check out his channel. He has his pulse on the blockchain gaming space really well. And I've actually been following him as a way to help get my pulse better on the space. He actually was preaching about play to earn gaming before I even knew what it was. And I was one of the first 4 YouTubers to start a play to earn blockchain gaming channel. So Crypto Stash really knows what he's talking about. So when he started talking up Phantasma chain, I was like, I need to check out Phantasma and see what this is all about. So yeah, I fell down this rabbit hole and wow, I was impressed. There's a ton of really cool stuff about Phantasma. For one, it is entirely scalable with 5,000 transactions per second and infinite side chains that can also do 5,000 transactions per second, which really makes this scalable on an entirely new level. And also, according to the lead developer of the Pavillion hub, which is a blockchain gaming hub built on the Phantasma blockchain, the founder of Pavillion, and he's also building 22 Racing Series, he recently said in an interview that sending a tweet on Twitter actually costs 700 times more energy than sending a transaction across the Phantasma blockchain. So there's some really cool stuff about this chain that I learned that I want to share with you. After doing this research, my team and we decided to collectively buy and stake 50,000 SOUL to become SOUL Masters, which is a really cool like staking incentive that we'll be talking about a little bit later on in this video. But yeah, I was so impressed that we invested $30,000 ourselves into this chain. So in this video, we're gonna be covering the background of this chain. It's actually 4 years old already. We're gonna be talking about the projects that are built on this chain because projects are what is going to drive users and lead to a chain's long-term success. And then finally, we're gonna talk about the chain's price. We'll talk about the SOUL token and the KCAL token and why they might actually be 1000x gems, which I don't just throw around 1000x. Like these might actually be 1000x gems, which is really crazy. I think for the functionality that this chain has, it is highly undervalued. So yeah, we're gonna be covering all 3 of these things in this video. So if that sounds good to you, leave a big thumbs up, hit subscribe, and now let's get into it. On-chain gaming. So to start off, the Phantasma chain was built for gaming, which I think is really cool. And I went back and read some interviews from the Phantasma team, and they have been core believers way back from 2017 when they started building this thing, that gaming was going to be one of the core drivers of adoption for cryptocurrency, which is what I've been saying on this channel. So they have known this since before I was really in the crypto space, which is super cool to see how forward-looking that they have been from the beginning. Just to be completely frank, most of these chains have not been built with gaming in mind. But actually, while building this chain, the Phantasma team was in close connections with the Goatee team, who are building 22 Racing Series and the Pavillion Gaming Hub. And the founder of the Goatee team, I listened to an interview with him, he was saying that all these ideas that he was having about like, it would be so cool if a blockchain could have this functionality for gaming and that functionality for gaming. The dev team behind the Phantasma chain was just like, oh yeah, we can do that. Or yeah, we were already planning on doing that for like everything that he was mentioning. And he said that there was no other chain that he found that would allow him to build their games with all the functionality that they wanted to exist on chain. So Phantasma was literally built while a game developer was like, can we do this? Can we do that? Which I think made this chain so much better than it would have been otherwise. So I think one of the perfect examples examples of this is non-fungible tokens. Now, obviously Ethereum has non-fungible tokens and Solana has non-fungible tokens and Cardano has non-fungible tokens, just barely. They just barely got there. But the way that the Phantasma chain is doing it is a little bit different, because with the implementation of Phantasma 2.0, which dropped December 2020, they created smart NFTs, and smart NFTs are actually really cool. So let's talk about Phantasma smart NFTs, which unlock near limitless possibilities for artists and developers at minimal cost. So a couple of things that they mention here are created on demand with no unnecessary costs, nested NFTs, and multi-layer NFTs, which gives a ton more functionality to game developers, perpetual royalties automatically ingrained into the chain, which is really great for both artists and game creators, and time-limited access to content. So these NFTs can have time-limited access to content ingrained into them, where like only the owner of an NFT can go to a website, for example, and that is really cool. And then infusing multiple assets and more into a single asset, which is something that 22 Racing Series uses a ton, because all the parts of these cars are NFTs, and you combine them together to create another like full raceable NFT, so it's pretty cool. But one thing that they don't mention here that I want to mention is that their smart NFTs allow for gaming items to actually be upgraded on the blockchain. So let's talk about Ethereum and a really cool project that I'm super excited for called Alluvium that has actually been running into problems with the limitedness of NFTs on Ethereum. Alluvium, your alluvials are going to be upgradable and your alluvials are NFTs, but the NFTs on Ethereum cannot actually be upgraded on chain. So the Alluvium team is going to be doing all of the upgrades of your NFT on their server. And then when the server just reads your NFT, it's going to say, oh, it's upgraded to this. This is how it's going to show in game. But the upgrades of your NFT are not actually on chain. But with the Phantasma chain, you actually can upgrade NFTs on the chain because they're split into two parts. There's the normal part of the NFT that can't be changed, which represents its non-fungibility and makes it unique. And this is what Ethereum has. But then there's a whole nother section to these NFTs which can be changed and can be edited. So the non-fungible uniqueness part stays the same, like its core existence on the blockchain, but then there's attachable data on the chain to the NFT that can be changed so that when you upgrade an NFT, like you can actually upgrade on the blockchain. And this is actually what Gala Games is trying to build in their new upcoming Gala chain, but Phantasma already has it. It's already ready for game developers now and usable today, which is really cool. So I think that Phantasma definitely has some cool things to offer. Now, another thing that's different about the Phantasma chain from a lot of these other chains is that they actually have two tokens. Phantasma decided to split up the governance and the gas token, which I think is really cool because it kind of sucks when you do any transactions on Ethereum and you lose your main token that you want to keep. But on the Phantasma chain, you actually pay gas fees with KCAL and your governance exists with Soul. Now, I know some people aren't gonna like this because it's like, oh, it's confusing. It's actually not confusing at all. It's just cool that you have two currencies, one for governance, one for voting, and one for actually minting NFTs, for burning, for transactions on the blockchain, and that kind of thing. And just to get into the tokenomics a little bit, because I definitely dove deep into the tokenomics, Soul is actually pretty much fully diluted already. Like there's no extra supply that's gonna get poured on, unlike ADA, unlike Solana. There's a ton of extra coins coming out for these projects going forward. But for Soul and for the Phantasma project, there is no like waiting increase of coins to sell and that kind of thing. Soul actually inflates at a very reasonable 3% a year. And I think that that is a really great and long-term sustainable inflation rate that I think is healthy for any economy built on the Phantasma chain. And this 3% of inflation perpetually goes back to people doing block confirmations, so to secure the chain and pay people that are actually moving the blocks. And it's used for reward pools for people that are staking their Soul. And then there's actually, I think, 0.8% of this inflation inflation that is currently unallocated right now. So it's currently going to block producers, but it could be voted on and used for some kind of other ecosystem incentive in the future. So yeah, there's a 3% stable inflation rate. And then KCAL actually cannot be created through any other way except for staking SOUL. So by staking SOUL, you generate a little bit of KCAL, and it's a super small amount. I think it's like 0.02 or 0.002 KCAL per SOUL that you're staking. So if you're staking 50,000 SOUL, you're generating 100 KCAL a day. And because KCAL gets created so slowly and then gets burned by usage on the network, KCAL is actually going to only be inflationary for a little bit. As the usage goes up, KCAL will actually start to become deflationary going forward. And it's possible that long term, the SOUL governance owners might have to vote to either like decrease the fees so that it slows down the deflation rate of KCAL or something like that, because eventually you want there to be more liquidity. And if it really starts becoming deflationary, well, great for the price, probably should be adjusted. So it's a really cool ecosystem. I love that they have two coins, and I think that this ecosystem has a ton of potential. Also, I wonder if it might help with congestion a little bit, the fact that it's kind of separated, because I know that like a single game server, for example, if it's trying to do too many things, can get congested and lag out. Whereas if you separate the functionality to two different servers, it can make the game run a lot more smoothly. So I wonder if on a chain, if you have these roles separated out a little bit too, that might help things run faster. I'm not actually sure about that, but it does seem like a reasonable concept. So before I move on from the background now, which was the first part of this video, I just want to say the last cool thing that's really cool about the Phantasma chain is that like it's ready to use now. Like, curious about NFTs? Create your own Phantasma smart NFT on Ghost Market for very, very cheap. So that leads us into part 2 of this video now, which is going to be the projects that are already built on Phantasma. Now, before we get into this, I should say that like, I know that there's some people that are like, Ethereum is the only thing and like all these other chains are scams, but like that is really foolish in my mind. I think that I stake a ton of Ethereum actually to Ethereum 2.0. I really believe in the Ethereum smart chain, but I also believe in Solana. I think Solana is going to be great for gaming. Star Atlas is being built on Solana. There's some other projects like Aurora that are being built on Solana. And I think there's a lot of potential for that smart chain as well. And I also think there's a ton of potential for the Phantasma smart chain. The world is big enough for more than one smart money, especially when some of these other chains offer things that others don't have. Like, there is a requirement, a necessity for the Phantasma smart chain because it can actually do things that some of these other chains can't. And they're trying things, and the dev teams are trying things like being able to upload encrypted files onto the chain that are hosted in a decentralized fashion, but only accessible by the wallet key holder. They're doing chat and email through the chain, and they're trying a lot of cool stuff on this chain that other chains just really aren't trying. So I think there's room in this world for a lot of different smart chains. Now, what is going to determine whether or not a chain succeeds or not, besides the fact that it has its real functionality, its real scalability, and all of that, but as long as like fundamentally the chain is built right in a way that can work and scale, then what really matters is what's built on the chain. The actual projects on Phantasma are going to determine whether or not Phantasma gets adoption and users and more developers and more adoption and users, and that kind of generous cycle long term to help the ecosystem grow. What matters is what is actually usable on the chain now, what can drive users now. So let's talk about the two main things that I'm really excited about that are built on the Phantasma chain. So the first thing we're gonna look at is the Pavillion Hub, which you can access at pavillionhub.com with 2 L's. And the Pavillion Hub is actually partnered with Steam, has some Steam integration. You can sync your Steam library onto the Pavillion Hub, but the Pavillion Hub is focused on games that are built on the Phantasma blockchain. So the prime suspect here is 22 Racing Series, which is an upcoming play to earn blockchain enabled racing game with a really cool built from the ground up physics system. And I've been playing this game a little bit because you can actually buy an NFT that gives you beta access here on the Pavillion app. So I bought it and have been playing it a little bit. It's pretty fun. I think if you like racing games, you're gonna like this, but it is also built with virtual reality in mind. So if you look here at the blockchain features, it says NFT game license, it says NFT inventory, esports events, community created content, game servers, and esports results ledger are all existing on the Phantasma blockchain, which is really, really cool. And this is just one of the games that you can actually already buy and play on Pavillion Hub. Winter Fury is another game that is already playable. A lot of these games are coming out on PlayStation and Xbox as well. And just like the last one, this game also has an NFT game license. So if you buy the game, you get the NFT. You can sell the NFT game license to someone else once you're done playing, and they can get access to the game. So it's really, really cool how they're just trying to integrate different games onto the Phantasma blockchain with the Pavillion Hub. And already we have a usable consumer-faced platform where we can play these games. Now I'm on my phone, so I'm not signed in, but I have my Phantasma wallet connected to my Pavillion Hub on my desktop, and it's really easy to use, super functional, and I like it. Now it is early in development, but it has so much potential, and it's already really, really easy to use. I really, really like it. One game on the platform that I think is really cool is called Table of Tales, which is a VR enabled kind of storyboard game. It's a really cool and interesting concept. If you look at some of this gameplay, it looks like it's like you're in VR, but it's like a game board as well, and there's like storytelling and stuff. But what's really cool about this game is that it also has an NFT inventory, so your items are on the Phantasma blockchain, and you have an NFT game license as well. I'm just a really big fan of everything that the Pavillion Hub is building. I think it has so much potential, and it's already really easy to use. But now let's look at the second thing that's already available on the Phantasma chain, which is the Ghost Market. The Ghost Market is actually a super functional NFT marketplace where you can mint your own NFTs. You can also buy a ton of NFTs already. And like, I'm not a big fan of art NFTs. I like NFTs with utility, but the site is really, really functional. Also, I should mention, it is the first ever cross-platform or cross-chain NFT marketplace. So you're seeing NFTs from Neo, from Phantasma, from BSC, and from Polygon. So this is just a cool marketplace that has cross-chain functionality, which I think is cool. A ton of currencies can be used. And let's actually look, 22 Racing Series. At some of these gaming NFTs, like check this out. This is an NFT race car for 22 Racing Series. It's currently on sale for 320 SOL, which is $203. And it's usable. It's a usable NFT in game. And actually 22 Racing Series is pretty cool because it also uses Phantasma's smart NFT technology, which allows for different parts. So yeah, like see, these are all NFT parts. You can see they're selling for 1 SOL each, which is about 64 cents, but you buy all these parts and you can actually build your own NFT race car out of NFTs in 22 Racing Series, which I think is super, super cool. So we have a super functional NFT marketplace here already for the Phantasma chain. And I just feel like this chain is so underrated right here. Like, oh, like we can buy Logan Paul's NFT collectible. Let's see, how much is it selling for? 1 wrapped ETH. So yeah, $3,300. But yeah, so really functional, really like the fact that this chain already has so many usable things for gamers and for NFT collectors. And oh, I didn't show you, but on the Pavillion Hub, you can actually access the Ghost Market directly through the Pavillion Hub as well. And like, it links to your wallet, so you can trade your game NFTs through the Ghost Market on Pavillion Hub. So it's like really cool, and this chain is just super underrated. I'm gonna keep saying it because it's true. So now before I get into the price prediction, which I know is something that you guys are really excited about, let me talk about the team that is behind this chain a little bit, and behind the Ghost Market and behind Pavillion Hub and that kind of thing. So one of the team members is Vincent Genest, and he actually was the co-creator of the Phantom wallet, which is a wallet on Solana. So we see here like there's obviously some dev talent here. I use the Phantom wallet on Solana, and he's one of the developers behind Phantasma and behind the Ghost Market. The founder of the Phantasma chain is Sergio Flores, and Sergio Flores actually created the debugger for the NEO chain. And I feel like when you create like a debugger program for another smart chain, you're probably gonna have a lot of ideas to how to just like make the chain better naturally or just overall. And actually another one of the members of the Phantasma developer team was actually one of the backend developers for the NEO blockchain itself, also a backend developer on the Phantom wallet, a developer of Ghost Market, and a developer of the Phantasma blockchain. So I feel like in a lot of ways, Phantasma is not even a generation 2 smart chain. It's a generation 3 smart chain, because Ethereum was built and then NEO comes along. They're like, we can do some of this better, right? A lot of developers work on NEO. The founder of Phantasma created the debugger for NEO. There's some other creators of Phantasma that literally helped create NEO. And now they're like, okay, we can do it even better now from what we learned from that. And then the Phantasma chain gets started. So yeah, this is 3 generations in already beyond what Ethereum was. And one of the reasons why chains like Ethereum move so slow is because they are decentralized, and a decentralized chain is necessarily going to move slower than a chain that has centralized decisions. Now, Phantasma is also a decentralized chain, but because it was created after people learned from the mistakes of these past chains or the lack of functionality in these past chains, Phantasma was able to get created from conception with a lot of the problems already solved. It's just really, really cool. But now let's get into my price prediction for Phantasma. And I think some of this is gonna blow your guys' minds, because Phantasma, despite all of this functionality, which I think is super impressive, has almost no market cap at all. And I say that, and I mean it in comparison to other full functional, full-fledged blockchains. So let's look at Phantasma's governance token, which is SOUL, here on CoinGecko. And we can see that the price is currently 63 cents. And that means that it has a market cap of $64.6 million. And a $60 million market cap for an entire full functional smart chain is super, super low. And if we're thinking about where this chain, where this coin might be able to go into the future, I start to see a lot of zeros behind the X that we're gonna see. Like a 10X would bring us to 600 million. That's still a really small market cap. A 100X would bring us to 6 billion. That is also still a very small market cap. A 1000X would bring us to a $60 billion market cap. And that is where you actually start getting in the range of some of these 2nd generation and 3rd generation smart chains that are trying to do functionality that Ethereum does not have. So for example, let's look at Cardano, ADA. And by the way, guys, ADA just barely implemented smart contracts. ADA has not really been that functional this entire time. Whereas Phantasma chain, the mainnet was launched like 4 years ago and was upgraded to version 2.0 back in December of last year. So this chain already has been functional for a long while, quite a while, and for the past year has had some world's first functionality with reference to smart NFTs and that kind of thing. Yet ADA, which barely launched smart contracts, is barely a functional smart chain. And I think Cardano does have potential, but just looking at the market cap here, ADA is worth $71 billion. So you know how we were talking about how a 1000X would bring us to like 60 billion? Well, it would still be less. It would be worth less than ADA, SOUL would be, if it had a 1000X from its current price. Because remember, it's $64 million market cap right now. A 10x brings it to a $600 million market cap. 100x brings it to a 6 billion. 1,000x would bring it to still a $10 billion smaller market cap than what Cardano has. But now let's look at the big dog. This is the number 2 ranked cryptocurrency in the world, Ethereum. It has a ton of name recognition and it does a ton of cool things that Bitcoin doesn't do. But also it has been very slow to implement to Ethereum 2.0. Hopefully that's coming soon. I do think it is coming soon and will fix a ton of Ethereum's problems, but there's still room for a lot of other smart currencies. And this whole time that Ethereum has been slow and expensive, remember Phantasma is 500 times faster than Ethereum is right now. This whole time while Ethereum has just been trying to fix some of its scaling issues, Phantasma has released as an already fully scalable blockchain with cheap transactions and has been already innovating towards smart NFTs and other functionality that Ethereum will not even have when it gets to 2.0. So then looking at the market cap of Ethereum, it's not 70 billion or 60 billion, it is $387 billion right now. And in fact, it has gotten about like really close to 500 billion. So we're looking at like a 10,000x for Soul would bring us to a $700 billion market cap, which is still less than Bitcoin, and would be in the range of Ethereum. Now, I feel like that is, we're talking like 20 years out, maybe, like really far out before something like that happens. But the fact that a 10,000x on Soul brings it to a reasonable place with blockchains that it is competitive with and better than currently, it is pretty crazy. Now, where Ethereum has its advantage is it just has a ton of developers. Ethereum has the biggest developer ecosystem. Because of that, the most applications and the most users exist on Ethereum. And that is a market advantage that cannot be taken from Ethereum. And I think it does inherently give Ethereum a lot more value than something like Phantasma right now, which has some really cool budding projects coming up on the chain, but it doesn't have close to as robust an ecosystem as something like Ethereum has. Now, I think that as more people start getting onto the Phantasma chain because of games like 22 Racing Series and marketplaces like the Ghost Market and the Pavillion Hub, I think that's going to drive a lot of users. And as Phantasma gets more users, more developers are also going to be attracted to the chain. And I think that we will start to get a growing ecosystem out of Phantasma as well. So what is it going to be worth in the future? A lot more than it is now. I mean, that's all I can say. I feel like this chain is like almost a guaranteed 10x. And I'm not a financial advisor, by the way, guys, but at this current marketplace, not 10xing, I feel like would almost be criminal compared to how much real functionality it has and what's actually being built on it. So yeah, at the very least a 10x, but I'm actually more expecting between a 100x and a 1000x on this coin in the next 5 to 10 years. I think that is actually really, really reasonable. So personally, I have started staking Soul. I became a Soul master by staking over 50,000 Soul. I did that both with my brother, who's the editor, and Josh, who is our sound engineer. We kind of came together and did that together. And we're gonna be staking it for at least 30 months. That is our plan because we're gonna be getting crowns, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff I could still talk about the Phantasma network, but I will be making a video. Actually, the next video I make will be about how to stake Soul in order to generate KCAL and start becoming a productive member of the Phantasma ecosystem. Because I mean, if this thing really does have a 10 to 10,000x ahead of it, this is kind of an ecosystem I feel like a lot of people would want to take part in. And I know I was very motivated to take part in this. So I'll be showing you guys how to set up the Phantasma wallets, which was the Ecto wallet. And then they have another wallet as well. I'll show you guys how to set those up, how to stake your soul and all of that in the next video. So make sure you're hitting subscribe if you're excited for that. And then if you did watch and enjoyed this video and all the information that I shared, leave a big thumbs up. That is very appreciated. That will help out this video in the YouTube algorithm, and it will start getting recommended to more people. So we very much appreciate that. And then finally, thank you to all of our incredible Patreon supporters. We're actually building a play to earn guild in our exclusive Patreon Discord. So if you would like to join up with this play to earn guild, we're going to be participating in a lot of these play to earn blockchain games. And this is a guild that is really being community run by some incredible members of the on-chain gaming Discord. So if you guys want to become a part of that, then becoming a $9 patron will get you access to that Discord. And I don't know, I've been struggling with this a little bit. Like, everyone in the patron is like, yeah, let's keep it exclusive. Let's make people who only care about this able to join our guild. And I think that is really, really cool. But also now I feel like it gives a reason to like join the Patreon beyond just wanting to support the channel. And yeah, I don't know, I might need to think about that a little bit more. Like, obviously that's good, that's great for us, and it does provide value to you guys. I don't know, maybe it's cool, but because it's community run, I don't know, maybe I'll need to eventually figure out a way to like send a percentage of the Patreon revenue maybe to those who are actually running the guild inside the on-chain gaming Discord and that kind of thing. But one really cool thing about this guild is that because we're going to be participating in games on the blockchain with real economies and real play to earn mechanics, I feel like it's going to be really, really reasonable to actually earn back more than your membership fee a month just by participating with the guild in these games. So I think that this guild has a ton of potential, and I'm excited about it getting started. So I'll end with that, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, have fun roaming the metaverse.